Hello, everybody, and welcome to Toonkind D&D. Hello, it is me, Artist of Obsessions, also known as Avi, and today I'm playing with the very wonderful and one of my best friends. I do Will Smith pose at.
Hi, I'm Vamp. I shall be playing the Ocean Water Child, just vibing.
Yes, good. And I will be playing the Fire Child Ruby. And yeah, so. Oh boy, things have been happening in Ruidal recently, huh? Huh, Vamp?
Yeah, things have been happening.
Mhm. I'm thinking, gosh, like in context, this is like taking place a couple days after the whole freaking Mind Flayer fiasco. Good golly, that was that certainly was something. Anyway, I think today to start out this FPS, where is Umi currently hanging out?
Mountain, as always.
Yeah, considering Umi's broken leg that got bit by an orca.
Yeah,
I still can't believe that happened. Like, Jesus.
we didn't expect it to get that far.
The dice were just like, peck you. Holds up two middle fingers as Umi gets bit. Anyway, Umi, today as you are chilling out in the fountain, I imagine that this is kind of like a normal thing for you to be chilling out in the fountain, and Ruby has made a point to visit you at least once every day to
Mhm.
make sure you don't die from boredom.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this time when Ruby comes in dressed in her red coat and holding her bag, she also has tucked under her arm well, it looks like maybe leftovers from breakfast she made earlier that day, as well as
Mhm.
a number of books. And she is making a beeline for the fountain with like the biggest, most excited grin.
Literal insight from Umi.
Roll insight.
22.
22. I mean, what exactly are you rolling insight for?
What she's so excited over.
Okay, well, Umi, normally when Ruby comes in, she isn't toting along with her books. And she seems to have a number of them today. And depending on what that means for Umi, what Umi can glean from that.
What can Umi glean from that?
Hmm. Hmm. That is the question. Uh,
Is there an answer?
Perhaps there is. Regardless, it's going to be answered very soon because Ruby is immediately like plopping herself down next to the fountain, setting her bag down, and actually shrugs off her coat and sets it aside to reveal like a little short sleeve shirt that she's wearing. She doesn't normally wear short sleeves, but she feels safe around the Ubi, so she feels like she can. So,
Yeah, for what it's worth, Umi doesn't even do a double take at the short sleeves.
yee.
He just like give
This is
away.
see, this is why. This is why. And then, as soon as everything in that sort is set down, Ruby plops down the the many books on the side of the fountain with the biggest grin. And all right, so question: how would you feel about learning to read today?
Ruby, make a perception. Or insight, either or.
I'm doing perception because that's better than Ruby's insight. That's a 20.
30,
30 20.
Umi's form starts to get slightly transparent.
Anna, come on! Don't go casting gaseous form or anything like that. Come on. Like Ruby's like trying to like I imagine like Ruby like leaning over the fountain to try and grab Umi.
But I actually wonder, can two people go into the astral plane at the same? If someone grabs you while you're in the middle of like stepping into the astral plane, would they get taken along?
Yoinked! Would they get yoinked?
Would they get yoinked?
I don't know. Maybe you should roll a D2. One, Ruby does not get yoinked. Two, Ruby does get yoinked.
One, the Ruby does not get yoinked, but that's not fun. So I'm rolling again.
Vam's just like, peck you, I want you to be yoinked.
And it's also a case of if Ruby is not yoinked, then Umi's gonna be in the astral plane, and Ruby's not gonna be able to do anything.
You doubt Ruby's patience?
Oh my god.
Either
Like,
way, okay, astral plane then.
yeah,
What?
like Ruby, you grab at like Umi's arm as Umi starts getting more transparent, and then like with a lurch, the surroundings around you both like kind of like waver and like change. And oh no,
Okay.
Dorothy, you're not in Kansas anymore. Uh, and for how that looks, I actually have a link here. If you'd like to
Ooh.
see it.
Yes. Give.
Um,
Ooh.
if you click, like, it should be like at the exact timestamp of the place in question.
Oh, yo. Oh, that's cool.
And
So it's like, are they like standing like on top of like a sea of water that stretches out to the horizon? Is that what it looks like?
yep, like if you click, like, it looks like either like it doesn't look like the actual ocean, like in the actual like inkwell.
Mm-hmm.
For one, like, again, it looks ethereal. It's like light doesn't reflect off it properly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like, and when you look at the sky, it's also like not like normal sky. Like, this
Mm-hmm.
isn't like the normal sea. It's bioluminescent. It glows. It's like extremely like pretty. Like when you look like down through the very clear water, like there's like seaweed that towers up into like the sky.
Yo.
They're like floating balls of light. Might be sea creatures.
Okay. Cool. As cool as this is, Ruby is just sitting there like, fuck. Ubi!
Um, he's just looking at Ruby like it didn't expect you to come along.
I did. What about needing? What about me offering to teach you how to read gets you sending us to? Is this your mindscape? No, it's not your mindscape. This is something else. What is this? Like,
Um,
congrats, Ruby's now officially distracted and looking up and around at everything.
Umi signs Astral Sea.
Oh, that sounds cool. Well, it is cool. Look at it. And like Ruby just gestures out to it with both hands. Question. How long are they gonna be here, Viv?
Basically, until Umi takes them back.
Oh.
And Umi's just like standing here like they had genuinely not expected Ruby to come along.
I feel like Ruby's just like sitting and staring at everything, and before she looks back at Umi, and just gestures at everything. Again, how did that was this is a lot. Okay.
I mean, you could roll an Arcana.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll Arcana. Boy, howdy, am I gonna roll Arcana? Here we go. That's a 21.
Okay, Ruby, you know of the astral plane. Like, you are a spellcaster. You know of the
Hmm.
astral plane. You know it very well. And this place seems to be the astral plane. Just like, specifically like ocean adjacent because of considering who brought you here.
Hmm.
And you can probably glean that this is something of an ability that Umi just recently learned. And just never like mentioned up until like they tried to like flee you teaching them how to read and you got brought along.
So you can just do this now. You can just
Umi
do this.
Umi nods.
1, that is really cool. 2, you use this to escape reading. Reading is not that bad.
They just signed boring.
Okay, that's fair. But I feel like even if it's boring for you, it's at least a little important to figure out at least the basics. I mean, you gotta at least figure out how to ask around for the bathroom and look at signs for it.
Okay, and they kind of like huff at that.
Come on. You know I have a point. And Ruby's just like putting her hands at her hips.
Oh, persuasion.
Persuasion. This isn't gonna go well. Oh, actually.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, I'd say like they huff and they exhale, but they like like offer a hand for Ruby to take.
Ruby just gives a very just gives like a nod like I know I'm right and takes takes Ubi's hand.
And then like the world kind of like melts in front of them, and they're back. They're back at the fountain.
Hmm. I'm just picturing them going right back to the positions they were in beforehand and Ruby just immediately getting dunked into the fountain because she was like reaching across the top of it and then just plop right into the water. And after like a second or two, she like pops back up and like spits out some water. All right, well now I'm all wet. And she just pounces like she like grabs like her long hair and starts wringing it out a little bit.
Yeah, and Umi's just like sitting in the fountain and looking at her expectantly.
Okay. Uh. And like Ruby is thinking a little bit as she goes back. She goes to like sit on the edge of the fountain, but her feet are still gonna be like inside the fountain itself. And she's gonna start. Well, first she's gonna dry herself off enough that, like, she's gonna use Gus to like dry herself off enough so that she can grab the books without getting them all wet.
Mm.
And then she grabs one of the books and starts opening it up. And as she's doing so, she's looking at Umi because Umi did express that this was gonna be boring.
Yeah, Umi's just like slightly submerged and just like looking at Ruby.
Hmm. I'm just
Like
gonna do a real quick.
you
Oh,
know that
you.
thing where like half their face is covered.
Hmm. It's just like the just the eyes peeking out. Peeky, peeky, peek. I'm gonna actually roll insight for Ruby for a little bit. That's a 15. Uh, even though Ruby did get persuasion earlier, how enthusiastic is Umi about this at all, if any?
Not
Hmm.
much at all.
Hmm. Ruby pauses before she gets into the swing of things and tell you what, after we at least get some of the basics down, how about and then she like glances around like she's about to tell a secret and she leans down to Umi's ear like I could we could go sneak out to the ocean if you want today.
Me
Like
perks up.
sandcastles and stuff.
Me perks up. Then they kind of tilt their head and like, times Chandler would be mad.
True, but also you gotta be bored of being cooped up in here all day. I know I would be.
They think about this, then they nod and they say, "Can we take the kiwi?"
I me Abby, I don't know because Breaks isn't here.
I mean, the kiwi has expressed like wanting to see the ocean, so like Umi could ask.
Hmm. Yes, but how would we do it? Vamp.
And oh no, they just carry the kiwi and do like a tune, like sneaky sneaking out of Antler's castle.
Can't believe
Listen, they're kids. They need to like do this at least once.
Hmm. I think Ruby kind of pouts a little bit, and she goes, "Well, I wanted to hang out with you because it's been a while since we just hung out, just you and me, you know."
Me blinks and like kind of thinks on it before realizing, oh yeah, huh? Because usually there's always someone around, like the doctor's drinking coffee, Buster's with love. There's always something about,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they not, they not, and they're like, I'd like to hang out with you too.
Ruby grins at that, and I think with this new goal in, as soon as they finish reading, they can go to the ocean in mind. Ruby goes on to opening one of the first books, and it's actually like a book that she got from probably the Little Corner Library. Sorry, Little Corner Library, another one of your books has gone missing.
God,
And it's probably like just a book that has like the very basics.
it's like a handwriting book with like the big fox like jumped over the little brown dog or something.
Exactly, exactly. And I personally do not know how Ruby is going to go about doing this.
You can just roll an intelligence,
Yeah,
and I
I'm
will
thinking
roll
about
mine with advantage.
yeah, yeah. Ruby's gonna roll the intelligence to see how well she is good at teaching. Although then again, the argument could be made that maybe it would be a charisma to see how well she's expressing learning, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, if that, I mean, I was giving you an out because I know about Ruby's charisma.
Mm-hmm. True. True. Hmm. I feel like I'm gonna stick with the intelligence for now,
Yeah,
and then maybe later rolls will be charisma. But here we go. Boop. That is a
that's
15.
pretty decent, and I'm gonna roll Umi's intelligence. That's a
Oh, 16.
16.
Nice.
Hey, imagine like, we have probably like been taught the basics once a long time ago. They just never
Hmm.
really like grasped
Practiced
it,
on it.
or yeah. So like
Yeah.
it takes a bit, but eventually they do like start getting the hang of it vaguely.
Oh. I just have the very cute mental image of like both Umi and Ruby just like they're both like sitting on like the opposite ends of the fountain, like Umi in the water and Ruby in the outside of the fountain. And they're just crouched over these little books. And Ruby would have made sure to like get like if there is like handwriting to be done, Ruby would have made sure to get like paper for Umi to write on that isn't the books that they're looking over because wet.
Yeah, Ruby knows Umi very well at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Uh, and I'm just picturing like Ruby just going through like the whole common alphabet. Like, all right, this one's A. This one's So you make it with the two lines from that touched together at the top, and then you got one in the middle of it. See?
Oh, and like Umi's like nodding.
Yeah. And they just kind of like go through that throughout the throughout the throughout the however long their study session is going. Yeah.
I'm just imagining the as it drags on, the Ruby starts feeling bored.
Oh yeah, the moment Ruby starts feeling bored is the moment the lesson is over. Because again, as much as she wants to teach Umi to read at least a little bit, they are both also kids. They are both children, and they are both now being inflicted with boredom.
And
You
like Ruby just looks at Ruby and signs, "Are we done then?"
know what? Yeah, I feel like that's a good point to stop today. Um, we could probably continue this later, but for now, and she claps her hands together. Ocean time.
Umi
And
lights up.
yeah, and then Ruby very quickly shoves all the books into her bag of holding and slips on her coat, and then she sits down on like the edge of the fountain and like waits for Umi to climb onto her back.
Umi's just looking at Ruby and is just signing like, "Are you? I can summon Matthew if need."
I feel like I can do it. Come on, it'll be fun.
Okay, and they go on like they ease themselves onto Ruby's back. And can Ruby actually lift them though?
Let's roll strength and find out. Four.
No.
Nope.
Ruby stands
Ruby.
up and immediately falls over.
Yep. And is now being squished by Ubi.
Umi kind of like rolls off Ruby, and their gaze is just slightly judgmental.
Okay, maybe I can't do it as well as I thought I could. Ow. All right. And like Ruby's pouting as she like sits up.
Umi's just like, what form should Machi
Well, can Manji be big enough to try and carry you?
be not?
Really, just
Pack
don't
off
really
the
get.
chain. Pack off the
Hmm?
chain.
Oh, okay. That's you know what. That's fair. I think Ruby just shrugs. I don't know. I mean, something that could go on land for the time being, probably, since we're going to
Hold
be
on.
walking to the ocean.
I am looking at the I am looking at the familiar thing. Da da dee da 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 dee da da da. Pseudo Dragon Quest Sprite Imp.
Hmm. I mean, our best bet would probably be Pseudo Dragon,
Oh,
potentially.
apparently a pseudo dragon is only 1 foot long.
Oh, maybe not then.
Let's see, a Quasit familiar.
Hmm.
Quasits are also pretty small.
Hmm.
Sprite is also pretty small.
I think they're all small creatures.
Yeah, I think like Umi runs through it and then just does like there's like a little like a little like squiggly you know how like when anime characters are like contented, like there's like kind of like squiggles.
Yeah.
Yeah, it appears and they're like too small.
Hmm. I think Ruby pats Umi on the back. All right then, I guess back to square one. Here, let me try carrying you again. Might not have had a good enough grip the first time. And I'm gonna roll again. Can I maybe get advantage this time?
All right,
Otherwise, we
I'll
are
let
not
you
gonna get to the ocean.
I'll let you have your advantage.
Cool, cool, cool. That is an 18 for the first one. Wow.
You don't need the advantage.
Yeah, but still. 18, yeah. This time, with a lot more assurance of herself, Ruby carries Umi on her back, like piggyback style. Alright. There we go. You good? You hold on tight?
Umi nods.
Nice. Alright. And now Ruby has to think. How are they gonna sneak out of the castle?
God. I mean, is Adler around?
That's the question. Probably. But then
Probably, yeah.
again,
But then again, he's probably exhausted with all the mind flayer things. Surely he won't notice Ruby and Umi sneaking out. You can
oh
roll
no.
stealth if you like.
Oh no, I'm gonna have to roll stealth. Great,
I mean,
okay.
are you disadvantage because you are carrying somebody?
Yes, but also Ruby is now casting invisibility on both herself and Umi.
Okay, so I think that cancels it out.
Yeah. So now it's probably just gonna be a straight roll. A straight roll. Okay, so I'm gonna roll Ruby's stealth, which is a +6. Boop. 16.
Oh, for once, she rolls really good stuff.
That's not super good. I don't know if it. Oh no.
I mean, Fable could, like, just for flavor, roll contrasting perception.
Oh, there's Fable. Here we go.
Nope.
14. What?
Ruby sneaks past Antler's office.
And the only sign that they were ever there is maybe a few drips of water from Umi. Okay.
Umi actually, like, makes a surprised huff when Ruby successfully starts.
Ruby just has the biggest grin. This is the first time it's worked. She is very pleased with herself. Okay. I think now at this point they're in the throne room, which has the big open circle in the ceiling. And this is where Ruby kind of drops invisibility, and now she is going to now she's gonna cast one of her new spells. That spell is Spider Climb on herself.
Oh my god.
Yep, they're walking up and out of this.
Umi kind of grips tighter because they're like, oh god, if Ruby like loses like the strength to carry me now, I'm gonna fall.
Ruby, uh, Ruby is just says, "All right, hold on tight. I do have feather fall, so don't worry about falling. All right, if we do fall, at least. And then she's gonna cast Spider Climb on herself, and she's gonna start walking up the wall. do we want to roll anything?
I mean, they're being carried, but I'd argue dexterity for Ruby.
That is true. Dexterity then, to see how well she's managing to do this carrying someone. Boop. 19.
Oh, she's doing really, really well.
Yeah, she is.
I'd say with a 19, like that, like you climb you climb it really quickly and really like easily without much issue, and then from then on, it's just like straight path to the ocean.
Yep, straight path to the ocean. And like as they're walking, Ruby is absently like pulling out her pocket watch and keeping track of the time. Because if they're gonna sneak out, they're probably gonna need to come back at least within a couple hours. Otherwise, oof.
And like and when they're like near to the ocean, Umi just like perk up and they kind of like go into the water because again broken leg, but
Mhm.
they did dip one of their feet in the water and kind of like splash about a bit.
Yeah. Ruby is basically just letting Umi have some hangout time in the water. Uh, or at least in the little waves that are lapping up on the shore. Yee. Hee hee.
Ruby and like Umi kind of like leans on Ruby a little.
Yes, good. Good. Uh, hmm. I'm trying to think. I wanted to do some things with Ruby, and I'm trying to think how she's gonna start bringing it up. Hmm. Mm-hmm. So, this might be a stupid question, but how have you been doing with, you know, everything, I guess?
Umi sounds good.
Well, that's good. Um,
We got a kiwi. There are like happy anime flowers around her head.
oh, we did. Uh,
They're
that
round.
was of all the things I was expecting to come out of that, turning turning a mind flayer into a bird was definitely not one of them.
Weirder things have happened.
True. I mean, this is ruined. All weird things happen all the time.
Antler was a skeleton.
He was, and then one day he wasn't. I don't know
Umi
what's
no.
weirder, him being a skeleton or him being not a skeleton. Suddenly,
He has really soft looking ears.
Ruby just does like that, just nods sagely.
I petted his antlers once, you know.
What'd you say? What?
Umi just told Ruby that they pet antlers once.
You did?
Kind of fuzzy.
Oh my gosh. That is very good. Uh,
Had to pay 15 GP to do it though.
Ruby just laughs at that. 15 GP to pet ears.
No, that's the thing. Like Umi like shakes her head. Like no, antler set ears would be more expensive.
Oh, that's. I think Ruby kind of grins, and she's actually reaching into her bag of holding, and she pulls out one of the antlers that popped off during the mindscape game.
Umi kind of looks at it and just kind of like looks at Ruby and it's just like, oh, you have those?
I do. I grabbed them while nobody was looking, and I must stress, Ruby rolled terribly for that sleight of hand. Everyone knows she has these.
I think Umi was asleep when she did that.
Yeah. But everyone else knows that she grabbed these.
Umi, who knows of her terrible stuff inside of hand, looks faintly dubious but allows it.
Well, I have 3 of them, but I gave Duster one of the little ones. Uh, hmm. And then, like, I think after a bit, Ruby just kind of falls quiet as she like looks out over the ocean, just watching the waves churn.
And Umi kind of looks at Ruby and asks, how about you?
Uh, I think I'm doing. Well, I think I'm doing at least a little good. Not super good, but better than I thought I would be. That was just a lot. Hmm.
I think like Umi just kind of like, if Ruby wants to continue, she can. She can vent if she likes.
Trying to think. Because like I feel like this is happening like on the same day that Ruby and Antler like had that big breakfast.
E.
So she's just kind of like mostly thinking to herself about that conversation as well as this interaction now.
Mm-hmm. Ruby, I'm just imagining Ruby like turning to Umi and going, Umi, I think I've been adopted.
No! No! As
That would
tempting
be,
as it is, she wouldn't say that!
I know, that would be so hilarious though. Because Umi would just be like, you weren't before?
Oh my gosh. Hmm. I have a question. Does Rivendell feel like home to you?
Umi kind of considers this. Just a shrug. Like, finds, no, not yet.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. I feel like if any place would be a home for you, it'd be the ocean, right?
But they actually also pause a little and sign somewhere else too.
Oh, where's that somewhere else?
Town.
Oh, like, you mean like Little Corner?
They nod. Have friends there.
That's good.
They cock their head and kind of look at Ruby in a way that's like, why do you ask?
I don't know. And like Ruby kind of tucks her knees against her chest. I've never really had a place that felt like home before. And then Rivendell feels a lot like home now. This is the first time I've never wanted to leave someplace.
That's a good thing, right?
I think so? I don't know for sure.
If it's somewhere you never want to leave, but you can leave, that's a good thing. Somewhere to go back to if you ever do leave.
I think Ruby's just like nodding along, like, because Umi is like bringing up like little good points.
Wisdom of 18, baby, let's go. I wish in this Wiz intelligence tag team. And like I think Umi just kind of like looks at Ruby and is just signing. Are you scared?
Do you want to roll insight?
Yeah, sure. 13.
I mean, I will say you have advantage because like they're best friends. They're best friends. No.
13.
I think like even with a 13, well, it's not inherently obvious. There is a kind of unfamiliarity about Ruby's body language. Like, yes, she does like these new changes, but also this is new territory for Ruby, and she's not sure what to think of it. So along with that usually comes at least a little bit of fear.
Yeah. And like Umi's just like, does this change anything?
Hmm. I don't know. I don't think so.
They nod. They're resisting the urge to go. Like these are like, I could see that I could see what was between you and Antler even when I first came here.
Uh, Listen,
And
Ruby does not have the knowledge or the words.
Umi is just like, God, Umi wouldn't go, Umi wouldn't, but I'm just like in their head, like it's just like he's your dad, and he's your dad, he's your dad. Okay, okay, okay.
Boogie boogie boogie.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. I mean, you could
And
you
like
could
out loud, it's just like family then.
wait, what?
They basically asked Ruby if like they consider like, since they consider it the home, like do they consider the people family then?
I think Ruby is falls quiet at that and like do you want to roll insight again?
Yeah, sure. Get advantage, please.
Advantage, please.
Oh
Ah!
god, 13.
Oof. Hmm. Ruby has fallen quiet again after you suggested the idea of family, and she's just quietly pondering this. And like she's quiet about this for a long time, like sitting and thinking. Cuz like Ruby, and Ruby tends to like think things through a lot whenever she thinks about stuff like this. It's just a matter of processing the thoughts and the emotions.
Hmm. And like Ubi just waits until like Ruby feels ready to like put it to work.
I think hmm, if this is what family is supposed to be, then yeah, I think I like it. Are you okay?
I think Umi just kind of like looks at Ruby and just like, if if you like it, then it's family.
Hmm.
And in their head, it's like that simple. If you consider them family, then they're your family.
Hmm. Yeah, Ruby seems her body language seems to have relaxed a bit at that, and she just kind of sighs and like there's just like a flop as she like flops back down onto the sand, and is now just like looking up at the sky.
Umi kind of like lies down next to her and like finds like whether she can see it. Besides, I already kind of figured.
Hmm. I mean, I figured you would know better than me. You got a
It
better
was
grasp on this sort of stuff than I do.
This is saying something considering that Umi is like a half feral cryptid child.
Yeah, yeah.
And Umi just kind of like gives a shrug and just goes, "I kind of knew ever since I saw Antler there the first time."
Was it really there then?
Got mad because you sneaked out with me without telling him.
Hmm.
You're kind of looking at Ruby at that. It's like that's such like a dad thing.
Yeah, Ruby is just sitting there like, yeah, because she didn't know that context back then, and now like looking back at it, it's like, oh, huh,
And then Umi
huh.
signs, and then you got mad at him and stormed off and slammed the door.
I feel like Ruby like looks a little sheepish at that actually, and kind of like looks away.
Yeah, this is basically the equivalent of like your friend and their dad like fighting in front of you while you're just standing there.
Yeah, basically. Uh, hmm. Hmm.
Like Umi's just like looking at Ruby. He and like besides he both think too much.
Hmm. That I can agree on. Ugh. And like Ruby just kind of like looks back up at the sky and like at whatever cloud is passing by.
Hmm. I think Umi just signs. Have you told Antler?
About what?
What did you
About
say, Albie?
about what? Like Ruby asked.
Family.
I don't know. I'm not sure I'm ready to tell him if that makes sense. I just this is all new stuff for me, and might be new stuff for him too. So I don't know.
Me nods and signs.
If I do want to tell that to him eventually, I want to wait and make sure the time is right.
Yeah. I think Umi just nods and like I won't tell him though.
Thank you. Hmm.
And then Umi just signs. You're both very smart, and yet somehow neither of you noticed this for this long.
Well, to be fair, I don't think either of us have had experience with it.
Umi will acknowledge this. Umi will nod and acknowledge this. But also, it was obvious.
Ruby just like sits up and like quirks an eyebrow up at Umi.
Umi just, Umi just shrugs and it's just like, I'm pretty sure a lot of little corner thinks you're his kid already.
Oh gods. And like Ruby just starts laughing at that.
Because, yeah, like, yeah. What? Like, and like, Umi is kind of teasing and poking fun a little here.
Yeah, yeah.
But also, like, two very smart, very capable people.
And yet there's not a single brain cell between them when it involves feelings.
So, Umi has all the brain cells when it comes to wisdom.
Yep. Uh, Gosh, I'm just picturing eventually Ruby just kind of snorts and she is looking back out at the ocean again before she pauses and she goes, "Oh, hold on. Just remembered something." And she's actually going to reach into her bag of holding and she pulls out a health potion and hands it to Ubi. This
And
is just in case the next time you go in the ocean and there's another orca, alright? You
most
got to
orcas
promise.
sound like that.
Well, still, on something else that's dangerous and you get hurt. Promise me you'll drink that and, you know, heal up a little at least.
Kind of looks at it before putting it in their pocket, which is their hammer space, and nodding.
Good. Hmm.
God, I'm just imagining like they just kind of like lie down side by side for a while after this.
Yeah.
And I am like I think like in like some time later like Umi actually takes something out of their hammer space. Or for once
Oh?
they're fumbling, they take out like the collar that both of them got from the mind player
Oh my gosh.
and show it to Ruby.
Oh, is that the collar thing? Like Ruby absolutely murmurs as he pulls it out.
Yeah, me nods.
What, do you have an idea for that?
Me shakes their head.
Hmm. Well, do you want to like use it on like a like a land animal, or do you want to use it on a sea animal? Because if you want to put it on a sea animal, that's going to be a little tricky considering your leg.
Umi like nods again and they make a face.
Listen, the moment your leg's feeling better, I promise we're going to go to the ocean right away. Got it?
Got it. Just like God, like on one hand, it would be more practical for it to be an actual like land animal.
Mhm.
On the other hand, it's probably more in character for it to be like a sea animal.
Consider otter.
I mean, in fairness, like they can always make Machi be an otter.
Yeah, that is also true, yes. Uh,
God. I'm just looking at Fable here, and I'm just like, Fable, I do have an idea of what this color could be used on. I do have an idea if
oh no. I've seen your ideas and they're brilliant, but also ooh boy.
I mean,
Ooh boy.
in fairness, it's not a strong creature. A game-breaking creature because it's only able to be in the ocean.
It's just a matter if we could find one.
I mean, I mean, something fishing net, something sea.
Oh my gosh.
I could do it.
I could do it, yeah. Oh, the
You
both of
ask
them scheming over this.
me, and you looking, both of us looking at Fable. Fable, and we still have a few minutes. We still have a few like we still have like 15 minutes left in this FPS.
So Ruby's just sitting here like, so you want me to go into the ocean and put this on a, what did you call it again?
Umi's just like, no, they're not gonna make Ruby like go into the ocean for it. They're just like that could be something the collar is put on.
No, that's fair. Ruby was fully ready to go do it, by the way.
Ruby, oh my god, so Ruby is so like down to ride and die. They were just like, oh, my friend is asking me to hunt down this elusive sea creature and put a collar on it. Yeah, sure, 100%. Anything for you, bestie.
Exactly.
I think like she actually started to stand up and Umi had to like grab her hand and pull her back down.
Yeah. She got lost in the excited sauce.
Me kind of signs. Besides, I wouldn't put that on any. I wouldn't put it on. I don't think that would be possible. Most of them live in groups, and I wouldn't separate one from their herd.
Oh, okay. All right.
They kind of like lift the collar up and goes, maybe I'll put it on a land horse.
A land horse. Oh,
Yeah, a land horse.
that would be neat. Maybe. I don't know. And I mean, it's not a decision that we can make right now. It's something that we can, wait on until the opportunity arrives.
Umi nuts. Like it's not a decision they can make right now, but also like there is like kind of fun and just making suggestions that slowly get more and more ludicrous.
Hmm.
Like like they're just like tossing like random creatures at each other.
Just back and forth.
Yeah. What if, what if we put it on dragon one then?
A dragon. Oh, good goldy. Well, those guys are already kind of sentient, though. I don't think it'd work on a dragon.
Fair enough. What
What about
about
an alligator?
an alligator and Umi nods like in Sage? What about a giant shark?
A giant shark. Like one of those really big ones.
Not. That's actually a possibility because the thing is, the caller just specifies that the intelligence has to be lower than 4 and has to keep it on for 24 hours. And like a giant shark does not have an intelligence that's higher than 4. Hell, an orca is also a possibility.
Oh my gosh. They're just going back and forth and just naming more and more ridiculous sea creatures.
Yeah.
Oh, this
Umi's
is
just like
wonderful.
Umi's just like unagi and like
Man. Man, oh man. uh, a jellyfish.
oh god. Yeah.
A jellyfish would be awful. Nothing like an awakened jellyfish.
Just like a huge ass jellyfish that will sting anything that tries to come near me.
Yeah.
Umi
Oh
actually holds
man.
the collar up and goes, "Wish Zan and Atler didn't kill that puppy, that intellect devourer."
I I don't know. He
It was
was
a
pretty
puppy,
okay, maybe, but also that I've read about what those things can do. They're really dangerous, Umi.
but it was a puppy, and it was halfway tamed. And imagine having one as a pet.
Ruby is like a mix of yes, it would be great, and no, I completely disagree. It's just right in the middle of you have a point, and also that is the worst idea.
Once again, I must stress to people listening. Ruby is high int low whiz, and Umi is high whiz low int.
Yeah. They are two halves of the same coin. Uh, hmm. I actually have something I've been meaning to tell you.
Umi tilts her head.
Um, but if I tell you, you gotta promise not to tell anybody, alright?
A nod.
Okay. Do you remember what Antler called me when he got mad that one time?
Does Umi remember? Hold on, that would be history
History.
that plus one. Oh, that's a net 20.
Nat 20! Yeah, you distinctly remember that, Antler did call Ruby Elaine.
Yep.
What'd you say?
And they kind of like look at like Ruby and nod. Like yeah, they remember.
Mhm. That's that's part of my real name. And I feel like hmm. I feel like I'm close enough to you that I don't know. I don't even know if I'm making any sense. I just
Umi kind of like pats like Ruby on the shoulder and like kind of like very slowly finger spells Elaine.
yeah. Ruby grins and nods. Yeah, Elaine.
It's a
Elaine
nice.
Roche Finch.
Umi hears this, tilts their head, and Bobby.
Did you say something? I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, Umi just said that it was a nice name.
Aw. Ruby just kind of grins at that, and I just have the mental image of like Ruby like resting her head against Umi's shoulder. Hmm. One day I'll be able to use that name again. Maybe. I hope. Hmm.
You like it more than Ruby?
Personally, yeah, but I'm trying to stay hidden and I can't exactly use my real name when I'm trying to stay secret.
I can understand that.
Hmm. I don't know, it feels nice to at least tell it to somebody, if that makes sense at all. I don't know.
Makes sense.
Hmm.
At least I know now, even if I'm not going to use it.
Hmm. Hmm. I feel like they sit in silence for a good little bit. Just like a comfortable silence, you know?
Eh, I think it's
Then,
just a Ghiblian thing where they're both just lying down next to each other and like looking up at the sky, and it's like very quiet, and they're just like having a good soft moment with each other.
yeah.
And I think Umi actually
It's like that kind of soft moment where like you can just vibe next to each other.
and Umi kind of signs that like Ruby like it's almost a year since you've come to Ankwell.
Oh gosh, yeah.
You know how to do magic now,
Mm.
and you can talk.
Oh, yeah. There's just a lot of things that have changed. And I don't know. I think I'm starting to like change, even if it's abrupt sometimes.
Are you happy?
I think so.
And they not.
Are
That's
you happy?
they're not. They've always been happy.
Hmm.
Ruby is very simple.
Hmm.
And I think that's the end of the FPS, unless we have anything else. Unless we
I
want.
I was gonna say that Ruby was gonna give Umi a hug.
We will hug them back.
Eee. Hug, hug.
Hug. But
Oh gosh.
actually, do you wanna,
And then I just have the mental image of Ruby like peeking at their pocket watch and it's been hours.
yeah. Do you think we should have them like roll stealth to sneak back into ruin though?
Probably, yeah. I just have like the mental image of like Ruby noticing that the sky is changing color and then being like, "Oh, back. Oh, shoot, we gotta go back." And then
Except
scooping
me.
up Umi into the piggyback ride and then starting to run back.
Come on, we gotta like cut and like roll stealth.
I'm just picturing them going back in the way they came with spider climb.
Roll stealth just for the fun of it.
I'm rolling stealth, yeah. Oh no. That
Abel, would
doesn't
you like to roll a contesting?
that doesn't even beat Antler's passive, I don't think.
Oh god. Oh god, Fable smiley face. I'm just imagining they like Ruby sneaks in with Umi, or well tries
Yeah,
to because
they're just climbing down the wall like a spider.
yeah, and when they open the door to like the hall that would lead to the fountain, he's just there in front of the door.
It's just there. Yeah, that's probably a wonderful place to end the FPS.
Yeah, thank you all so much for
Mere moments before they're getting chewed out. Okay, well, thank you guys for listening and watching. I hope you guys had as much fun as we did.
Also, in fairness, Rumi did bring up that maybe they should have gone to Antler. Like, it was Ruby who was like, no, we're gonna sneak out.
Listen, she can have one rebellion, exactly one, as a treat. Okay, I think that, yeah. Thanks for listening.